Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who Classic. Last time around we had Resurrection of the Daleks. What was that one about?
Well, the Daleks had to go to find Davros because they were trying to figure out how to become more like humans, because that seemed to be why the humans kept defeating them.
Well,
or is that...
Well, they needed a cure for the Movellan virus that specifically attacked the Daleks. That's why they needed Davros. Davros said he was going to recreate the Daleks and give them an understanding of more human emotions so that they could become better killers, which is what the Doctor was arguing. So...
And they were back in 1984 because there was a time tunnel or something like that. And at the end of it, because of all of the destruction and death that had been that had taken place during the episode, Tegan finally decided she was going to stay on Earth.
Yes.
All right. So now we're just, at this point, just the Doctor and Turlough.
Yes. The other companion, the Doctor, has clearly not wanted to join him, but now he's stuck with.
Yeah.
So,
unless he's going to take him back to his home planet or some other planet.
I don't know, maybe, but yeah, that was pretty much where we were. As a slight side note on Turlough, over the weekend we rewatched the George C. Scott version of A Christmas Carol in the yearly watching of 10,000 Christmas carols, and
because I'm a purist.
Yeah, and in that version, the younger version of Scrooge is played by Turlough.
Yes,
and it was very weird to watch. Because the man has a very distinct face.
Yes,
and so just seeing that is like, yeah, that's Turlough, and that's weird. So
now, we've watched that Christmas Carol many, many times before, but we had never seen Turlough in Doctor Who until this year.
Yeah.
So that's why we both woke up and that's Turlough.
I mean, technically we had seen him when we watched The Five Doctors, but neither of us could remember him to save our lives, so... but that was interesting, and he was good in that version.
Yeah. And
honestly, I was going to say, I don't know what he's doing now. I'm going to hope he's still alive so that I can still say that, but honestly... If you need a Scrooge now, he could probably play that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of buy... He's really good at that. I don't know how to describe it, but just when he kind of is closing himself off from, Belle and, going more towards the money and stuff, it's like, yeah, I can buy that.
Yeah.
I can buy that of Turlough. So, yeah, that's our little side note for today.
And we are coming to the close of the Fifth Doctor's era, are we not?
Not
next week,
there.
but the week after.
Let's see. Yeah, so we got Planet of Fire, Caves of Androzani, Twin Dilemma, and that looks like that's it. So we're in the final 3 of this season. So
he seemed to have gone by rather quickly.
Yeah, even though, and we also took a break right in the middle of it, but I'm pretty sure he only lasts 3 seasons. Yeah. So.
And we say that because at this point they're only doing 26 shows per season.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the Hartnell and Troughton and even up into Third Doctor, Pertwee, they were doing literally year round, weren't they?
At least with the first 2. Yeah. I think they might have changed it on Pertwee, but that was the thing, because I think the story is, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong. But I think the story is that it was Patrick Troughton who advised Peter Davison to just do 3 seasons, which makes sense. But for him, those 3 seasons were much longer. Yeah. There were certainly more episodes in there. So it would have been nice just to have one more season, especially because I really feel like he's gotten into the role of the Doctor now. But I get it. They don't want a repeat of Tom.
And if we're in 84, even though it's February of 84, and this only goes to 89, that means in the 2 remaining Doctors, there's 5 seasons. So Baker gets 2, and then who's the 7th?
McCoy.
McCoy gets 3, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Because we do go, I think, to season 26.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, we are. Basically, we're just saying we're running low on classic Doctor Who. I think the current projections have us finishing up around June or July. So, and then it's on to modern Doctor Who. Which is, and now look, modern Doctor Who is great. Watching modern Doctor Who is also great. The stuff below the video, that's a different story. But at least, from what I remember, now maybe this was just because I was just starting off with Doctor Who, so nobody wanted to scare me away. But from what I remember, nobody had any, like, hot takes or very strong opinions about the Ninth Doctor's era, as short as it is.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that remains true, unless now that I'm a seasoned Doctor Who fan, I'm suddenly going to see all of it coming in, even on that era.
Now, I will say, in our tour of Doctor Who, of New Who, I only saw one episode from the Ninth Doctor, which was Dalek. But I thought it was great. I liked what Eccleston was doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Yeah,
definitely. So we will get to that in due time, and it is kind of... honestly, it is unfortunate how short his era is. Like, it works, it's still a great season, but it is just so short, and it is kind of unfortunate that it's likely he's never going to come back to the show. Yeah. He's at least doing the audio dramas now, but I mean, who's got the time for that? Or the money, honestly. So, but you guys do, I think. So, anywho. Planet of Fire. That's what we're on today. That's a very vague descriptor, but that's all right. I don't know. Do we get anything else?
No. I mean, Planet of, we've joked before, is a title that seems to repeat itself. We had Planet of Evil, Planet of the Spiders,
Planet of Giants.
So anyway, Planet of.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah, it's as numerous as of the Daleks, which I made a joke about that with the last episode. I put, like, part 1, I put, like, for the title of the episode, I put, like, Father of the Daleks, and then part 2 was, like, Rebellious Phase of the Daleks, and then the last one is Discussion of the Daleks. It's ridiculous how often that is actually used. So, anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. Why don't we just go ahead and jump right into Planet of Fire? Here we go.
To me.
That's not fire.
Tatooine.
I think it's the Mummy.
In those days, people didn't tolerate dissenters as they do now.
The unbelievers are harmless.
Yes, but it's still a wise precaution to send the occasional freethinker to the flames. Encourages faith in our tradition.
Political thing to say.
We must not seem to be wanting.
He's got kind of a Peter O'Toole vibe.
I'll get one of the crew to take it to the police.
Yes, but first we must get the statue safely ashore. I won't be happy till it's safely in the workshop at the museum.
The first part was obviously not on Earth, but now we are on Earth.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a hidden civilization on Earth.
I sometimes think those mutated misfits will terrorize the universe for the rest of time.
Doctor, you're becoming obsessed.
Yes, obsessed and depressed.
You miss Tegan?
Well, we were together a long time. Chameleon.
Oh, Chameleon's back.
Help me.
Oh, they figured out how to use it. Just throw it on the floor. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that was a good idea.
Harry, I'm really sorry I don't have the time to talk.
Oh, this is the new one?
It's all right.
But what about your work? Your ecology project, your reading schedule? You've got exams coming up. Come on, Barry. No way are you going to North Africa.
I'm not a child. You can't stop me.
Okay.
She's really struggling with that American accent.
The old men will tell you that soon Logar will send a sea afar from the heart of the mountain.
Then we must all leave this place.
We must do nothing.
Nothing.
We have faith in Logar and are not found wanting. We will survive and prosper. And as a reward, the outsider will come. There will be food and gifts we have forgotten existed. No!
I'm pretty sure this was an episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, actually.
This rope's on tight enough. Must I do everything myself?
Oh, that's why Turlo wasn't wearing a tie.
And what do
Because
you
everyone's just paring down their wardrobes today. Well, and now he's dead.
Doctor's companion in a bikini.
It's the 80s. It's the 80s. We gotta get all those kids' dads to watch.
Turbo in shorts.
Oh, that's for the moms. Use the bag to float.
And now Turlo in a Speedo.
And of all the male companions, too. Because he's always, like, well-dressed.
Hey, no pagado. Hey, oiga, por favor. Hey, hey.
I was gonna say, was that money? You know what's nice about this episode, though? It's all shot on location. And it looks so much better than wherever they would have been in England. Well, I was gonna ask if he's had that mark this whole time, but I guess we've never seen his arm. It's a good thing that they have pillows that perfectly do your hair.
Yes, and the hair looks so nice after it was completely soaked
Yeah.
in salt water.
And then she slept on it.
I have succeeded. Contact has been made.
Oh!
Who are you?
I am the master, and you will obey me.
Ah, let's go! He's just the best, isn't he?
But did he inhabit Chameleon, or was Chameleon just the master all along?
I don't know.
Because the Chameleon turned into Howard, and then Howard turned into the master.
Yeah, well... I mean, the last time we had Chameleon was the Master episode, so I'm assuming it's just that... Because it was the Master who turned Chameleon into the bad King John, so he can just turn Chameleon into another version of himself. So... I don't know, but it just makes your day better, honestly. So...
Now, at this point, we happen to know that Perry is going to be the next companion, but I wonder if the audience who watched that episode had figured out she was going to be the next companion or not, because she's really kind of annoying in this first episode.
Yeah. I mean, she's very standard young woman who falls into the TARDIS. She's very... honestly kind of similar to Tegan. I feel like it's pretty obvious that she is the next companion just on the fact that they focus on her so much, and it's right after we lost Tegan, so I think it is pretty obvious, but I don't know. But she's interesting, I guess.
Now, she's an amateur archaeologist or is she just along with her stepfather on this dig or this dive in Greece? So again, we don't know a whole lot about her.
Yeah,
but she's certainly no Nyssa.
Yeah,
and again, sadly, it looks like she's going to be more in the mold of a Susan or a Tegan.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also the fact that we're splitting that between, we're introducing Perry, but now we're also something's going on with Turlo. He has a mark. That must mean he's from this planet that has not been destroyed by Tractators, or maybe it will be. Maybe it will be yet. I don't know, but
yeah, I'm wondering if they're setting him up to be the next, because the young man.
Yeah.
What do they call him?
I think his name was like Malcon.
Malcon, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're probably setting him up to replace Malcon as the new leader.
Yeah. I mean, it could also be because they have the legend of the Outsider, that the Outsider would still have the mark. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Look, I just want to get out of here. Please.
You will remain in the TARDIS.
We'll see about that.
Oh. He is still a robot.
Give this to the doctor.
I know.
And warn him that the master...
Now he's Mecha Howard.
That's a Baywatch shot if there ever was one. Really does make you kind of wonder where this was shot.
Well, yeah.
I never thought I'd be alive to see this day. But look, it is just. He sent you to help us through the time of fire.
I can use this.
A chosen one has many gifts. There are more like this.
Show me.
Tolo! Doctor, you don't understand! I think this equipment came from my father's ship.
Plot twist. So, Perry, you're going to be spending an entire episode doing nothing but climbing on rocks and slipping on sand.
Welcome to the show.
Anakin Skywalker so famously said, "I hate sand."
It's so coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere.
I order you! No one can order a chosen one except another chosen one.
Now please, take me to where you were found.
Is this Turlo's brother?
Where did you get that?
Maybe.
Probably the same place as you.
He does not get the same joy out of seeing the Master as we do.
Commence the burnings!
Stop this!
You are quite powerless. Continue the sacrifices!
Punch it.
See that
Well.
Dr. Burns alone.
I mean, this is the time to abandon pacifism and punch him in the face.
I guess he doesn't know that it's Chameleon, but if he did that, he might break his hand. But, yeah.
Well, Grimwade's scripts are getting better.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if it's his script or the director, but notice again, you're not seeing long scenes. You're seeing a bit of the Chameleon Master scenes, a bit of the Doctor scenes, the Turlo scenes, the Perry. So it's moving more fast paced. And again, this may be the influence of MTV, which debuted in about 81, 82. So it's definitely much more fast moving. Even though the script isn't fast moving, the action seems to be simply because of the way it's being directed or staged.
Yeah. I wonder if this was originally meant to have Tegan in it, and so that's how they sort of formulated Perry's character, because honestly, she's not too different from Tegan.
Yeah.
And And this episode, it's fairly simple. Throw her out onto a mountain for the majority of the episode and cut back to her continual suffering until eventually she finds Turlo. So, I don't know. I would... Now that I think about it, though, I wonder if this will be the end of Turlo, because we're getting all of his backstory.
Yeah.
So, although I am curious how this then ties into the Tractators from a few episodes back.
Yeah. Well, we still got 2 episodes to go. Maybe he'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Part 3.
Maybe the Tractators are the ones who have bored into the planet so much that it's released the molten core, the magma and all the other stuff, because the doctor said this is a conduit from the volcano itself, and maybe that's one of the places where the Tractators had bored through it.
Maybe.
Commence the burning!
No! Doctor, help us!
You must believe me!
Oh, but I do believe you.
Commence the burnings!
Stop this!
You are
I love he doesn't even have a real reason to. He's just like, oh, I can kill people? Let's do that. I wish that was a shot of the 2 of them running, and then it pans back, and then about 3 seconds later, Perry runs around.
I'm sorry to be deprived of the pleasure of seeing you die, Doctor, although I'm consoled by the thought that your imminent and inevitable demise will be
Demise?
Now, Chief Elder, I work for you elsewhere.
British pronunciation.
Where are the gifts?
How do you know Malcolm is your brother?
The last clown ship to come here crashed, and Malcolm was the only survivor. It must have been the ship my father was on.
How does that make him your brother?
Well, just accept for the moment, Doctor, that I know he would have been the only infant on board.
He's in severe shock. There may be some damage to his nervous system. Keep him warm. Make him as comfortable as you can.
There better be a reason that he ended up in a British boys' school.
Last.
Where are the promised gifts?
Don't let him go!
Gullible idiot.
So long, suckers.
Too late.
No. No. That's the Master's TARDIS.
It's like the doctor's.
But infinitely superior.
But
As I am.
evil.
You must do nothing to threaten the continuity of our people.
Then obey me in all things.
We will be guided by you, chosen one.
Can you imagine the Chosen One shows up in shorts?
Fire God spoke to me, encouraged me to inhale the gases. I felt intoxicated, invigorated. I felt reborn.
You were drunk.
When I returned from the mountain, my body and my mind felt stronger.
I wonder if that's what the Master wants. To be born again.
I've been wondering this whole time, what is he going for?
Isn't that interesting?
Well, you're getting no more power!
Well, good job.
I may have a puny mind, but you don't need to be Albert Einstein to find the off switch.
Oh,
You
he's
escape from my
tiny.
slave, but you will obey me or die.
Like, chuck him across the room. He'll die.
Fill it with water. Step on him.
What happened to him? What was the... Last time we saw him was the 5 Doctors. He would have been returned to wherever he was.
Yeah.
By Rassilon. Why is he tiny? I get why he needs to get the blue flame of healing, but that's
Now,
so weird.
I think there's another clue, and I could be totally wrong about this. There were 3 spacesuits. The Master miniaturized 2 of them. One of them is still left, which, if you remember, looks, strangely enough, like the original, whatever his name is.
Logar.
Logar. So, somebody or other, whether it's Turlo or Perry, or even the Doctor, is going to get inside that and convince all the people that he is Logar and they'll defeat the Master.
Yeah.
That seems to be, unless it's just, a red herring.
Yeah.
Because essentially what they're saying is they mistook one of the Tryon aliens in a spacesuit for Logar, except that this alien must have misled them to believe, that he was, their new cosmic lord or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it might just be that, they just mistook him for that. I don't know if the Tryon alien specifically wanted to do that, but yeah, so I guess that's it, is that they must just be the local inhabitants of this planet, and it was, I guess there is the question of what happened to Turlough's father, because Malkon survived, so maybe he was in the suit. He accidentally became Logar, so I don't know. This also doesn't explain why Malkon's brother is a pasty, red-haired, skinny man.
Now, we have not seen Malkon's hair because it's beneath his kafir, whatever that is called. I'm not exactly sure what that is.
Yeah. But it definitely feels like they just came up with this now. Especially because this still isn't tying into the Tractators, which was already established as part of Turlough's backstory. So they definitely were like, we'll cast this guy. And they were, in the middle of all the Black Guardian stuff when they cast him. So they wanted to tie him in with the Black Guardian and do all that stuff. And then they kind of left it open and, maybe we'll give him something later. But I don't know. And that's a minor just nitpick of... And I guess that's if these people are not the same species, like they're the local inhabitants, that's why he doesn't look like them. But it still doesn't explain why he doesn't look like his brother.
Yeah.
So... But it's a minor thing.
Well, to be quite honest, my brother and I did not look a lot alike. Now, you and your brother looked a lot alike when you were younger, but you don't anymore.
Well, yeah, so... Alrighty, part 4.
I gotta say, I'm enjoying this. It's a decent story. And they're not taking too long to get it told.
Well,
yeah. I'm not thinking this could have been chopped down into 3.
Yeah. Honestly, this season has been really, really good. It's weird that Chameleon goes back to that, but obviously they don't know how to use the robot.
Just in time.
If it's still intact, I think I can operate the main transmitter on my father's ship. That gives us direct access to Tryon Communications Executive, and the custodians will send a rescue ship.
Couldn't be better.
Will it get here in time?
Just a minute. You were concerned about the custodians earlier. Are they all right?
He's a
You are
fugitive.
in trouble.
Sarn is a prison planet for very special people. That's why my father was sent here. If he had lived, he would have been your leader.
Are we Tryon prisoners too?
No. You were all that is left of the indigenous population.
Well, it's too bad we still don't have our Australian companion.
Tello, how did your family become criminals?
There was civil war on my planet. My mother was killed. My father was on the wrong side and was exiled here with my younger brother. I, for my sins, was sent by the regime to Earth.
How could they possibly...
Well, he should understand that.
Please state name, rank, and identification code.
My name is Vislor Turlo. Junior Ensign Commander. Identification code VTEC 9 oblique. I won't punish you. Just as long as they don't send me back to Brendan. Where? The worst place in the universe. English public school on Earth. Come on, let's get back to the others.
Well, that's a fair point.
How does it feel to get a taste of your own medicine?
I live, Doctor.
Albeit in somewhat reduced circumstances.
I shall soon be restored to profit from my research.
You're experimenting with a tissue compression eliminator.
I was building a new and more deadly version.
You made it too powerful for your own good.
A small design problem.
And a very small master.
Fried his fritters.
We hardly knew him. Really?
Logar is everywhere. He cares for the faithful.
Perhaps that's why he sent a ship from trial. Perhaps he wants you to live.
Touché.
Now that's what I call a real spaceship.
It's no good to us.
Cancel the reinjection immediately.
Maybe you should have stepped out of it. Oh, I thought we were gonna get the Crispy Master again.
No, I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you.
My exile has been rescinded.
I'm pleased for you.
Doctor,
I get that one too.
look after him, won't you? Gets into the most terrible trouble.
What
She didn't sign up for anything.
But no explanation of the tractators.
I should get you home.
No.
Just before I met you, I was saying I wanted to travel, and I've still got 3 months of my vacation left.
And you want to travel with me?
Is that an invitation?
Actually, it was a question.
May I?
3 months, you say?
That's right.
All right. Why not? Welcome aboard, Perry.
Why not? I could use some more gray hairs.
All right, so other than never explaining the tractators...
Yeah, I'm sure there's some headcanon or something that people will give us in the comments, but it seems strange that they kind of leave that out.
Yeah.
But other than that,
yeah. Now, thoroughly enjoyable. Again, very little padding. The only thing I saw was the shrinking of the 2 spacesuits, which again didn't take more than 30 seconds, but very coherent story. Finally explains Turlo after 2 years now.
Yeah.
And he says yes, he got exiled to Earth, and the worst possible thing. And his lawyer in London was the guy who was watching him, but the school itself was his punishment because it was deadly boring.
Which now, finally, now that he's gone, it explains why the Black Guardian would choose him to try to kill the Doctor, because, like, well, he was in the military, in the Tryon military. That at least makes a little sense, other than just picking random schoolboy in Britain to kill a Time Lord. Yeah. It doesn't make that story much better, by the way. It's just a little bit.
But strangely enough, again, goes back and explains that first car ride, which he took off in because he was simply trying not to be bored, and then he ran into the other spaceship.
Yeah, so it's... I mean, I guess it's a strange thing of... Turlo's such an interesting companion, because he's so different from anything we've ever had. And I guess, honestly, Turlo is basically a reverse of what a normal companion is. You know, at first he's against the Doctor, not really with the Doctor, and then it's only at the end do you actually get his backstory rather than the beginning. I mean, here is the beginning for Perry. We get the beginning for Tegan. Even, you know, characters like Leela, well, she was on another planet with, you know, the Seva team and the Tesh and the giant Tom Baker face in the mountain and everything. It's like all of that backstory is explained in her first episode. But for Turlo, it was completely different. Yeah. So, now, whether or not they thought that out completely, I don't know. Like, was this always the backstory they had in mind for Turlo, or did they leave it open enough to where they could kind of fit it in?
Yeah.
So
he's kind of the reverse Stephen, because Stephen started out really helpful to the Doctor, and by the end, he and the Doctor were not getting along at all.
Yeah.
And now, here, he starts out not getting along, but slowly but surely, over the course of nearly 2 years, finally figures out his place in the TARDIS.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a strange, but it's a different take on a companion. So it works out. It's just, it's also just the problem of like, okay, I feel like it is obvious that it was not fully planned out from the beginning, which is fine. It still worked out. Yeah. But just the fact that I don't know how the Tractators fit in at all. And that was this season, wasn't that?
Maybe very early.
Yeah, that was Frontios, which was only like 2 episodes ago now that I think about it. So it feels like it was longer than that, but or maybe 3 episodes ago, but yeah, we don't fully have the reason as to what happened there. So but yeah, other than that, yeah, still a very good episode.
Yeah.
And what have we had this season? So we had Warriors from the Deep. That was good. It was had some shakiness, I think, but it was still pretty good. The Awakening, which was good. Frontios was also good. And then Resurrection, and now this. Yeah, so it was only 2 episodes ago that we had the Tractators. But honestly, this season, I feel like, has been pretty solid so far.
Well, a lot of that has to do with Peter Davison finally coming into his own. Again, one of our comments has been that the first 2 seasons he seems very unsure of himself. And again, I realize he's trying to disassociate himself from Tom Baker's portrayal, but to have a Doctor who literally seems to be scared of his own shadow, and I'm exaggerating, of course, so don't take offense at that.
Yeah.
But he finally, in this season, he's finally started stepping up and going, I can do this. I can control the stuff that I want to control. And so it's just, he's been a better character in his own story this year.
Yeah. He's definitely, I think Matt Smith kind of does this a little bit, where he feels like an old man trapped in a young man's body, and this is the youngest that we've ever had the Doctor. And Matt Smith kind of does that a bit. Like at the beginning, he's more of the energetic young man, going through those seasons. But by the end of it, you can definitely tell, like, okay, this guy's been around for a while. And that's also around the time you get to the 50th anniversary special, so it kind of makes sense tying that in with the previous Doctors and everything. And I guess David Tennant does that a little bit as well, but I think that's definitely part of it, is that now that he's gotten to the end, and I think maybe it's also just on his companions, having Tegan and Turlough and Perry, none of which he really has ever wanted to come with him, but he's just kind of been stuck with, even there at the end, where Perry, who, to be fair, he doesn't really know anything about Perry. He only just met Perry. And he's just kind of looking at this like, oh, well, do you want to come along and travel with me? And he's just like, okay, I guess I can do that. Sure. So
get you back at the end of your 3 months.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting sort of dynamic that kind of ends up defining his character in this 3rd season, which again, it's one of those things of like, man, I kind of wish that he had gone on for another season. Like, I feel like we just got, what this era wants to be.
Yeah.
Which again, that's also another thing of like Jodie Whittaker's era, where Jodie's era, I think overall is good, but there are some like shaky episodes here and there. I think like by her 3rd season, they kind of figured out what they wanted to do, or at least she figured out what she wanted to do with her version of the Doctor, and it felt good, and it felt like, well, we could have gone one more season. And I know a lot of people are hoping, because in modern Doctor Who, pretty much after Eccleston, every Doctor has been a 3-season Doctor, and people are kind of hoping that with the next Doctor, that'll be broken, hopefully. So, but we'll have to see. But yeah, an interesting location for, and eventually we did go onto what were clearly sets, but a lot of interesting outdoor shots, and I have no idea where most of those were. So, like...
Well, I was thinking the closest location with volcanoes to the British Isles would be Iceland. If they shot in Iceland, it had to have been during the summer, because although Iceland is relatively warm because of the Gulf Stream current keeping the warm air over it, it's got snow on the ground, especially in the northern part, nearly year-round. So it makes me wonder, did they actually go to the Mediterranean? Did they shoot this on one of the islands of Italy, or even go to Greece where it was supposed to be set? So I don't know, but yeah, they took very good advantage of those on-location shots.
Yeah, so... because it definitely seemed like once they were on the planet, on Sarn, it seemed to be a very different location from where they were supposedly on Earth when they found Perry. So, it did also feel like in that first episode, it's like, all right, it's the 80s. It's time for a different version of Doctor Who where there's just no shirts, or we got girls in bikinis and everything. It's like, okay, someone out there in the writer's room was like, we need to bring in some more people. What's the easiest way of doing that?
Yes. Back in the late 50s and early 60s, when, although television was still relatively new, people, especially advertisers, were trying to think, what can we do to get more people to buy our product? And the mantra on Madison Avenue was, sex sells. Whatever you can do to make it look sexy. So you put Sally Field in a bikini and put Gidget on television. Do the Mod Squad, do all this sort of stuff with younger characters who never wear shirts or always wear bikinis, and a lot of people tuned in to watch that.
Yeah. So now they definitely toned it down after the first part. Once they brought Perry on board, and we still had Perry, who wears, I guess, not much less than Tegan's been wearing this season, and Turlough, who's just not in his trademark suit at all, and obviously the Doctor is as well.
Yeah,
he's pared down.
His original outfit was ruined in that scene where he fell into the tank, and so they were kind of scrambling to get him to a new costume, and again didn't wear his coat hardly at all in the 4 episodes in this.
Yeah, although I do kind of wonder if that maybe is on the part of Peter Davison, where it almost seems like it would be in character for the Doctor to keep the jacket and everything on, but I wonder if it was Davison who was like, okay, if we're going to be filming on a volcanic island and on the beach and everything, I have to be able to take this coat off. It's going to be too warm for me. And maybe that was the same thing with Turlough, because once they got to Sarn, he still had to look just the button-up shirt and shorts. So, but it's definitely a new look for Doctor Who, with all the skin being shown.
And by the way, if you're hearing that opera in the background, that's our beagle. He's obviously got a scent, and now he's out there yodeling.
Yeah, so that might be catching on the microphone.
It's pretty loud.
Yeah, I think it is. So I'm just kind of looking to see if the waveform moves when he does that. So let's see. Well, and another good episode for the Master. I like that, once... Oh, and also we had Chameleon finally returning. I like the distinction that, you've got all the people, whether they're shirtless or in the bikinis, or, the Doctor and Turlough paring down their outfit and everything. And then you get the the normal Master, who's still in his regular, puffy outfit. And then the Chameleon version that is just decked out in a full suit, with a vest, a tie, a jacket, and everything. It's like, nope, he needs to be the stark contrast to the rest of them. so that was funny. And you can also really tell when it's like, okay, we need Chameleon to move, but Chameleon should have been broken free from the Master. So in theory, Chameleon should be the robot again. Nobody knows how to make the robot work, so we'll just put the guy that plays Howard in the silver paint and the suit. It's Chameleon. He's close enough. So, and then like pretty much every scene where it's just Chameleon, he's either standing completely still or he's just laying down on his back. Like that's the most they figured out how to make this thing work.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that was at least interesting. It is also just funny that the Master is just tiny, because the whole time I'm like, why doesn't he like go out and do something, you know? Like what is he accomplishing with this? And it's like, oh, he's tiny. And I love it's not even something because of a previous episode or like, you know, where we last saw him with Rassilon. It was specifically that while he was trying out, he was experimenting with his tissue compressor and he just hit himself like an idiot. So that was funny.
And do we know what happened to him there at the end? All right, he was in the flame. He kept asking the doctor to get him out. The doctor did not get him out. So, theoretically, is he now dead? Will he regenerate again? You know, does Anthony Ainley come back again? So,
well, I think he does come back. So, I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. I mean, the thing with the Master is just he will always come back, and like someone should go in and like write down every time he has died, like actually fully died on screen, and then just be like, all right, now how many of those have they explained that he has come back? So yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe for a second we would get like the Crispy Master again, but I don't know. Maybe it's something that I don't know. They'll have some explanation of how he got out. Yeah. So I guess, he did. Well, he said something about their last encounter on. No, that he was talking about Zarefas, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Which was not. It's weird. They had the whole thing with King John. Now Zarefas. What was Zarefas? They went there specifically. I don't know. I'm trying to like figure out. Like, for a second, I was questioning. Did the Master actually go from, you know, he had Chameleon and the Doctor took Chameleon away, and then the 5 Doctors and then this, or were they trying to imply that this Master that we see here is just the one from the King John episode, and maybe at the end there he was taken away to the death game in the 5 Doctors? I'm sure that's one headcanon, but I doubt they'll fully explain that.
Yeah.
So, we had everything with Logar and what was his name? Timov? No, Timonov. Yeah, and they were interesting. It's funny. I wonder how many times have we seen indigenous people who accidentally like decide that something is a god that really isn't a god. I feel like we've also had that recently. I can't remember what it is,
but there are the pseudoscientists today, the pseudoanthropologists who, like what's his name, Eric Daniken, who said that the Egyptians were probably helped by people from outer space and then turned them into gods and that sort of thing. So, I mean, that was a common trope in the 60s and 70s. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
Yeah.
You know, let's face it, a pre-industrialized civilization meeting people from an industrialized civilization, especially when as advanced as spacefarers, would possibly think these people have to be gods because they are so far above us.
Yeah.
Both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where I can't remember where I saw this, but someone was like, you know, if aliens ever do actually invade Earth, we just have no chance, you know? Because, like, if they have the technology, to travel thousands of light years across space. Their technology has to be so much better than anything we have on Earth.
But H.G. Wells, again, more than 100 years, almost 125 years ago now, probably more than that, came up with the perfect defense, is that any being from a planet other than Earth, just like many of the indigenous peoples on this planet when the Europeans or the others invaded them, they are susceptible to diseases that they have never encountered before in their existence. So somebody lands on Earth, they're going to get killed by the common cold, or COVID or SARS or something like that, because they simply will not have any immunity whatsoever.
Yeah, so it's the one hope is just sort of hold out. They'll die eventually. Yeah. So, or the aliens, they have their own H.G. Wells, so they thought of that. So they'll just stay in space, bombard it. Will come down once they've bombed the common cold out of existence. So,
or more than likely, though, any civilization advanced enough to visit Earth would look at Earth and go, "These people are way too primitive. Let's just skip it."
Oh yeah. So,
or like the Vogons in Hitchhiker's Guide, just say, "You know what? Let's just bulldoze this entire planet and make way for the intergalactic highway."
Yeah. So,
I love the Vogons.
I guess that's pretty much it. Overall, good story.
Yeah.
And a good exit and backstory finally for Turlough, and a good entrance for Perry. Yeah. So,
and that leads us up to what literally for the last 4 years people have been saying is one of the best, if not the best, Doctor Who episodes ever, The Caves of Androzani.
No pressure. And with all that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our Doctor Who classic reactions, as well as another playlist with all of my modern Doctor Who reactions if you want to go check those out. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.